Hi, my name is Terrestrial. I'm an Animal Crossing and Sim streamer over on Twitch and also DIY lover. I know how it is when you're streaming, you feel like you gotta go out and like buy all this stuff and like commission artists and things for overlays, emotes, panels, all the things. And honestly, there's so many ways you can do this stuff on your own, and my personal favorite way is to do it through Canva. I use Canva for literally everything, my overlays, my emotes, and today we're going to be talking about how I made my panels in my About section in Canva. And personally for me, I use Canva Pro for everything, and if you'd like to try it out for free for 30 days, feel free to use my affiliate link down in the About section, but you can totally do everything you need to do with the free tier. And today I'm going to show you a few different ways you can make your own About section panels, things like, you know, where to get your merch, talking a little bit about yourself on your channel page. It's super easy, there's so many options, and really it's just all about knowing what's available to you. So let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what size panel you need. Now thankfully Canva makes it super easy to know what kind of size that you need for your Twitch panels. You literally just have to type in Twitch panel and it'll come up with the exact canvas size that you need. So if you just click this, it'll take you into the canvas and we can get going. Now the thing is, you can totally change this canvas size. Just do take into account that Twitch will size it down to be at 320 pixels width. So you can have a greater height than 100 pixels, but it'll always be 320 pixels wide. So I do recommend that you start off your canvas size at least that, and just realize that it is going to be scaled down. So going into here, I'm going to show you something super cool. So Canva has this thing called templates, which you can find right here on the left sidebar. Personally for me, not gonna lie, my new panels that I made for my channel was from a template, and it was from this one. I'm not even kidding. I literally just clicked this. I changed the colors a little bit to fit more with my color scheme. So you can actually click the background of this like gradient that they have going on, and then you can see that you can change the colors. So I did this bright pink because that's very much so my brand. And then I also changed the second color to be more purple. I think I did this purple. And this is literally all that I did. I also mess around with the colors of some of the elements that they had. I do believe I made the stars blue, and then also changed the colors of these hearts. I also wanted to change the font because this is definitely not my style of font. So basically what I do is I keep everything pretty much the same from colors and fonts across the board, whether I'm making overlays or whether I'm making about panels or social media posts. So I did want to change this font. It is super easy to do that. Literally, you're just going to click on the font, go up here, and this is the font name. And there's so many fonts to choose from. Even if you don't have Canva Pro, the font that I use actually isn't a Canva Pro feature. And I like to use Bright Sunshine, but literally there's so many to choose from. You just pick whatever goes with your brand, whatever is going to be a good font as like titles. I like to make that the fancier font, and then if I'm going to be writing more than a few sentences, I definitely like to pick more of a plain font. So from here, you can see it looks really funky. I'm going to start by taking off uppercase because I want it to be upper and lowercase, which is this button here. I'm also going to take off this effect that they have. So they have splice turned on right now, which is a text effect. I'm going to turn that off. And actually, I am going to turn on neon because this is my go-to. I use neon all the time. I love how it looks with the gold, which I have saved in my brand colors. So another feature of Canva Pro is you can make brand kits, which include color palettes, which is super handy because that makes sure you're using the same color over and over again, but you can totally write down the color codes that you use and just refer to those if you don't have Canva Pro. So I like to use this gold color as like the background. And then I'm also going to make this bigger. I think the font is a little small right now for my liking. I want to make sure it's really easy to see on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you just click the number up here, I'm going to make it 35, which I think is a good font number for this. This will make sure it's easy to read when it's super small on your channel page. So this looks fine, but obviously the font is not super easy to read. So what we're gonna do is one of my favorite things to do, especially with the neon effect, is you're going to first duplicate it, which is this button right up here in the top right. And then I'm going to put this right over top and exactly line it up of the original font. Then I'm gonna go back to effects, take off the effect, so there's no effect on this top layer, and then change the text color to white. And now it's super easy to read. It looks way more interesting than just having a plain font, and it's super readable. Like, this is going to really pop on my channel page. And there's all kinds of effects that you can do. And just being aware that you can do this stuff is honestly half the battle. Like, one that I really like that I've never been able to figure out how to use is glitch. I've yet to use this in a design, but I really like that. I think it's super cool. It's pretty relevant to gaming and stuff, and just media in general. So that one's really cool. Splice is another go-to, though. Oh my gosh, everything looks atrocious over my current selection, so maybe let's not go through these, but just know that they are available, and you just have to play around with it to find what's going to be your brand and what your look is going to look like. And this takes time. This takes a lot of time and preparation and iterations, so just keep at it and you'll find something that you're happy with. This is just one way that you can go about making panels. Canva is super cool in that they've provided a bunch of templates for Twitch now, which they did not have like a couple months ago. So this is honestly super cool that they've done this. And if one of these floats your boat, absolutely use it and just change the colors to fit your color scheme. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Again, this is what I did. I literally just clicked this, changed the colors, changed the font, and I was ready to roll. But let's say you want something to exactly match your overlays, or you want something a little more customizable. Let's see how you could go about that and a couple different tips and tricks to make it more interesting. All right, so let's jump into this next part. Let's say you watched my last video on how to make overlays with Canva videos. Shameless shout out from my last video. If you haven't seen it, I show you how to make your very own overlays. It's super easy, super simple, and they're all animated and highly customizable. So definitely check it out if you need an overlay. But let's say you did that and you've got your overlay set, you've got a video that you're using and loving, and now you want panels to exactly match that. Let's see a couple ways that you would do that. So first of all, go to Canva videos, which is over here in the left-hand corner. This is the video that I use for my overlays, so we're gonna use this. Just literally expand it out to fit the canvas. So let's say there's a part on the video that you'd rather have than what it defaults to. You can absolutely move it around. Literally just double click on the video, and then you have free range. You can literally just drag it up and down until you get the part that you would like to be featured in the panel. Now, remember, this is going to be a still, so it's not going to move. Twitch does not support like videos or animated panels. So I would pick a part that's like interesting to look at, very much so represents your brand, and is like kind of an iconic point in your overlay, but is easy enough to put text over. So for me, I think I'm gonna choose this, which I know is literally the most busy part of the video, but I think it'll look pretty good, especially with all the grass and stuff at the bottom. Okay, so let's start making this panel look a little more interesting. I think we're gonna be making a subscriber panel. So this is going to be important for one of our next steps, which is basically making a place for a little element to correlate with whatever the text says. So for subscribers, that's usually a star, and I think if we put a star on top of this as is, it is not going to show up super well. So let's make a little place for it. Let's start by going to elements, and then I'm going to grab this square, and this is going to be the background that we use for the element. Let's start by rotating it with this little tool. I'm going to put it at, I don't know, 21 degrees seems to be pretty good. I'm going to put it in the corner, and you're going to see where I'm going with this in just a second. Let's kind of pull it out and make it fit, but we don't want any of the corners to be showing, so we're going to make it fill this entire side of the panel. Then we're going to go over here to this button, which is transparency, and this is something that I use all the time. But let's take it down just a few notches, maybe like 77, 78%, so that it's just enough to see what's behind here. But if you put something on top of it, it's gonna really pop off. All right, let's find us a star that we can use, and I'm just gonna go back over here to elements. I'm going to search just literally star. And then I'm gonna go over to graphics because these will be more clip art stars. All right, we've got our star. We've got our little slant. Let's go get some text. So we're gonna go over here to the left side of the screen again. We're going to press text. And again, I'm probably gonna do the same thing that I do with pretty much everything, which is my like glowy text. So I'm gonna go over here at the text panel, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab my cursive font family. I really like to use the cursive on all my headings, which I know it says subheading, but you know how it is. But let's go ahead and type in subscribe. And we're gonna make this a lot bigger, probably like 35. All right, so from here, I'm gonna do, you know, the tried and true. We're gonna go to effects. We're gonna press neon, and I'm going to change the color right here at this button to my gold. Again, though, this is all up to preference. You absolutely do not have to use the neon effect or do anything that I'm doing, honestly. It's just being aware that this stuff even exists on Canva, and you might find that you like the shadow better or you like lift better. Absolutely go ham and do it. It's literally just knowing that this is available and that this is a thing so that you can start thinking and branding yourself. Okay, I am still not happy with this color, so I think we are going to change this back to the hot pink and let that be that. So honestly, I think this looks pretty good. It goes with my overlays. It is bright and vibrant, which is definitely a part of my brand. Let's say though, you do want to kind of make the text pop a little bit more. You can go over to elements. You can grab a rectangle, and we're gonna make this rectangle take up literally the entire panel. I'm going to change the color to something lighter, probably this color. And I'm going to go to position and send it to the back. So this is going to put it behind all of the other elements except for the video. So now let's change the transparency so you can see the video. And we're going to do it, we're really not going to do that much. So sometimes what I like to do is take the transparency all the way down to 0 so it's not even a thing, and slowly work my way up and see what I think looks the best. So that's too much. I do want to get it so that the stuff in the back still kind of pops, but might make the text a little bit easier to see, and it kind of flattens the background just a little bit so there's not as much stuff going on and you don't get as distracted. So I think at 17% transparency, it looks pretty good. But that's really all up to personal preference. You could totally leave it without the rectangle and have it very bright and vibrant. It's just knowing that you can do that so that if you run into a situation where your background is way too busy, you can just put a rectangle over it, make it the size of the panel, send it to the back with the position tab, and then change the transparency, and it'll make your text pop a lot and make it way easier to read. The last thing I did want to mention about this panel is that we do have a video as the background, and again, you can't upload animated or video panels on Twitch. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go to download and change the file type. So I typically like to do a PNG, and here you'll be able to save it as literally just what you see here. Okay, so let's say you don't want your panels to match your overlays, or maybe you didn't make your overlays in Canva and you have something else going on. Or maybe you don't have an animated overlay that you made in Canva and you just want something different, but still matches. I think it's really important with branding to make sure everything matches so that your overlays, your panels, your emotes and stuff, they all kind of have the same vibe and they all have a very specific look and tone. So let's say you have a theme that's kind of like, I don't know, you have a lot of plants or something going on. So there's a lot of leaves in your overlay, maybe some plants or something, and you want some panels to match that. So here's a cool thing that you can do. Starting with a blank canvas, let's go over to photos. Now photos I really love, and I think it is not utilized enough for the way that I personally use it. I think I'm going to look up literally just leaf. The thing I love about photos too is they also do have some like clip art kind of things. So like over in Elements, they have this type of stuff. In photos, they seem to be a little more, I don't know if high quality is the word for it, but they do have like pictures with the backgrounds already taken off, and it makes it really easy to grab. So you have all these options for backgrounds, and honestly, any of these would be really cool to have. You don't see many Twitch panels with like actual pictures as the background, so that might be an interesting thing to do. I do think though we are gonna grab this one, which has a transparent background, so if you change the color of the actual canvas, it'll show through, but we're gonna leave ours as white. So I'm going to make this the entire panel. I want this to be the background. Also, if you have a really small area, like this panel is only 320 pixels wide, I think it's easier to read stuff and it's better for the viewer to have larger patterns. So from here, I'm also going to show you another little thing that I use all the time in Canva. If we go back to elements, so let's say that we don't want to do what we did last time where you kind of choose elements to go with the text. So like last time it was a subscriber panel, so we chose a star. Let's say, I don't know, you want to do something still with the theme and just to have a little more accent to the panel and just to give it a little more pop. I think we are going to get us a frame. So frames in Canva, I literally use all the time. Oh my gosh. And what they do is you bring them into the canvas and then you can put a picture inside of them and they will take on this shape. So it basically kind of crops the picture to whatever shape you choose. And I'm gonna choose a circle, but you could totally choose any of these as well. And you're gonna see how this works in just a second. It definitely doesn't stay looking like this. Let's choose the circle one. And you know, I kind of want one that's gonna sit on the corner and kind of be like a little accent piece. So we'll have this here and then the text more in the middle and offset to the right. So let's do this. I'm gonna maybe shrink it down a little bit and make it take up this entire half right here. So let's go back to photos and we're gonna kind of take that idea that we had earlier with the little clip art kind of thingies and we're gonna type in, I'm thinking a succulent is gonna look really good right here. Let's search succulent. And also we want one with transparency. We want to go with the same kind of deal as this where the background showed through. So if you go to here, which is like a little filter button, and you're gonna go and check cutouts only. So now we have a bunch of succulent clip art that's gonna come in handy dandy. And I'm looking for one that's kind of circular, that's very radial. Okay, so I'm thinking one of these is going to work and be the best. Let's try this one since it's more of a head-on, and I do think it's kind of watercolor, so it'll go with our background. And since we put it in the frame, the background of the frame is transparent. So you can see that it has these little like peaks and dips and stuff in the clip art, and that's exactly what we want. I do see that this looks a bit busy, so let's go ahead and change the transparency of the background so that this pops a little more and is more of like a statement piece than just blending in. So we're going to click on the background. We're going to click transparency. And let's see what looks good, but also you can still tell that it's there. So let's go to 0 and then slowly work our way up. Honestly, I'm thinking about 27 looks pretty good because you're still going to be able to see this on Twitch, but this makes the succulent pop a lot more. So let's go get some font and start playing around with that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab just any of the fonts really, and I'm going to go ahead and make this probably 35. I feel like 35 is a really good size for panels because it's like big enough to be able to read, but not too big so that it looks funky on your page. Let's go ahead and type in subscribe so we can inform everybody of the subscriber perks and stuff. And you know what? We're gonna get a little crazy. Let's go find a new font to use. Now, I will say, I think it's always good to not pick a font that's too busy. Like, honestly, this script that I have is a little too much. Not gonna lie, I do think I am going to fix that at some point and kind of rebrand a little bit. I do think it's a little too scripty. So I have seen other scripts that people have been using that I think are a little too hard to read. Like this one is very hard to read, especially you have to remember too, a lot of people don't know cursive. But let's go find something that's not cursive, but still interesting to look at. So for me, I have a go-to that I have, and it's blueberry. I think this is really cute. It's so easy to read, but everything's kind of offset. It's a little funky. Nothing is exactly the same, and I think it makes it really interesting to see. Now this font is a little bit bigger than the one I started out with, so I do think we're actually going to change the font size to maybe like 30. I think that's a much better. And recenter. So you could totally leave it like this, but I do think you want a little more pizzazz going on with the text. So let's go back to effects. So if you just press the text, go to effects, and then let's see what looks good. Lift is one of my go-tos because it kind of brings the text off of the page, though I do think sometimes, especially in this situation where you have such a light background and a very dark text, it looks almost like a little fuzzy or something. So maybe if you turned it down to maybe like 14 or 25 honestly looks pretty good. It still looks like the text is kind of coming off the page and is more pronounced than it was before, but it doesn't have that fuzzy effect. So lift would be A+. I think also this would be a good use for shadow. Now shadow, I will say, I think it's a little too offset. It's a little too obvious. So I'm gonna bring it in a bit. And I think that looks good at 31. You can leave this as black so that it matches the text. It might be kind of fun though to change the color. You can change the color of this effect to maybe like a dark green that matches more of the background, but we'll see. I know this doesn't make too much of a difference because it's basically black anyway, but I think it does look better to have it as this really dark green color. And honestly, like I said, you just play around and see what you think looks good. If you like the splice, go for splice. Honestly, that's kind of cute too, depending on the vibe that your stream is. You can't ever go wrong with neon, as you know. So you could totally go for neon and then do the thing that I do to make it, you know, stand out more. I don't know if you'd want to go for glitch in this situation. And echo is pretty difficult to read, so I would stay away from that. But pick things that are really easy to read, that will stand out well and look good when it's really small on your about section. All right, so one last thing that I wanted to mention and talk about was what I said earlier about you can change the canvas size. You don't have to use this canvas size that Canva recommends. Also, you can use your own pictures that you upload to Canva to make cute panels. So I'm going to show you how I made my panels that I had before my current ones. So let's go over to uploads. And a while ago on Etsy, which is a fantastic place for clip art, I bought this pack of like Nintendo clip art that I thought was really cute, and I used it to kind of decorate my social media posts and stuff. But then I realized that I could use these switches as like an about panel, and they were really cute. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and put the switch into the canvas, but it does not utilize the full width of the canvas, which is a problem. So I recommend going to resize, which is up here in the top left. I will say resize is a Canva Pro only feature. So if you don't have Canva Pro, go back to the homepage of Canva and create a new canvas and go through that process again. If you do have Canva Pro, you can press resize, and I'm thinking like a height of 190 is going to give us a good width to height ratio for this switch. So go ahead and type that in, press copy and resize. So this is going to take everything that we have on this canvas and copy it to a new canvas of this size that we typed in. All right, so now we just have to fit this, and I don't think it's going to be a perfect fit again, but that's okay. It's going to be much better than what it was last time. Okay, so once again, let's make another subscriber panel. Let's go over to text, and let's, you know, get our text again. I'm going to do the tried and true, and I'm going to press the neon effect for the text. I'm going to go ahead and make it say subscriber. And let's change this color to fit whatever your branding colors are. You know, I go for gold, so press the color button. We're gonna go for the gold. And let's make the font size maybe, let's try 35. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, we'll keep 35 and let's go ahead and center it. All right, already I know you're seeing a problem. Even when we duplicate and make the neon a little bit easier to read, this background is gonna be too busy. So let's use that little trick that we learned earlier where you can put a little rectangle behind here and make it easier to read. Go over to effects, which is over here on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's grab you a square. And let's make it fit the size of the rectangle that the switch screen is. But let's go ahead and change the color of this to something lighter that the text is going to stand out from. And then let's go back to our friend transparency and take it all the way down and slowly work your way up. Also not digging this color, so let's make it purple to match the Switch controllers. Ooh, okay, that looks fantastic. So let's keep that. So here you'll see that it's still really easy to see the stuff in the background. You can still definitely tell that like I was an Animal Crossing streamer and that's all I was playing. But the text stands out really well with this darker purple color. You'll want to save with transparency so that you don't get all of this white area around the Switch, and that it'll actually, when you put it in your profile, it'll be like the Switch shape. Now, having a transparent background is a Canva Pro feature, so just be aware of that. If you don't have Canva Pro, there are softwares that you can use where you can upload your picture. I think you could probably do this in Procreate, where you could get rid of that background, or in GIMP too with the magic tool. You could totally upload this to GIMP, use the magic tool, and erase all of the white area around the Switch. But to make it super easy, if you do have Canva Pro, you literally just press download, go to transparent background, and then download. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to upload your new panels to your Twitch page. Honestly, this takes a little finagling. You do have to kind of upload everything, get everything written out, and then kind of move stuff around to figure out the best configuration for everything. But you do this through your Twitch channel page. So here is my channel page. You go to About, which is down here, and then if you scroll down, you'll see your little About square with all your links, and then here's your About section where you can really go ham. If you press this button, Edit Panels, and toggle it on, it'll bring you to this page. So you'll see these are all of my panels with all of the text, and it's honestly pretty simple once you get the hang of it. If you scroll on down, you'll also see this blank square, and this is how you're going to add a new panel. So basically, let's go ahead and press this because we want to add a text or image. It'll bring you here, and then you'll want to press this button and go find the file of your panel. So if you have a panel that is not 320 by 100 pixels, you'll be able to crop it here. Ours, thankfully, is the exact size that Twitch needs, so we don't have to do any kind of cropping, so we can go ahead and press done. And when you press submit, that's when your image gets uploaded and all the stuff is uploaded to your Twitch page. Thank you so much for checking out my video. I really hope you found it useful. And as always, if you ever have questions, put it down in the comments. I would be happy to answer, or shoot me a DM on Twitch or on Discord. And if you find out that most of the stuff that you want to use for your panels or overlays or emotes or whatever is on Canva Pro, feel free to use my affiliate link and you can get it for free for 30 days. I put it right down there in the About section to make it super easy. But thank you so much again, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you're looking for a super wholesomely cursed, very welcoming Twitch community, we would love to have you. You can check out my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/terrestrialplays, and I hope to see you at the next stream.